So tonight, we're going to have Avi Regev. Most of you guys know that already. Is going to be sharing with us. He's a lieutenant colonel in the IDF Reserve, and he's been our tour guide for, it's probably better than 15 years. Is it, Luann? When did you go? Okay. Okay, yeah. So 14 years, awesome. Anyway, Avi and his wife, Anat, are good friends, and Avi has some inside knowledge on what's going on in Israel, and one of the things that's going on in the United States right now is this whole basically fight over whether or not the Israelis are doing a good job, a bad job, whether they're the good guys or whether they're the bad guys. And I thought that we would have Avi here, and you could hear it from the horse's mouth. And so he's gonna go through and talk to us about this stuff. So welcome, Avi Regev.
Well, good evening. Some new faces, some faces that I know from years and tours before, so it's a pleasure to be here. And it's always coming here is feeling like being among friends and family, so it's really great. I'm going to shape the stage a little bit, in your permission. That way I can see the slides that I want you to see. Thank you. Don't break it. Okay, I would like to start with the main event that Israel experienced, a traumatic event that Israel experienced in October 7. It was a high holiday of Sukkot, a dwelling festival, and kind of intelligence failure and operational failure, some kind of a misconception that the Hamas, which is a terror organization financed, trained, and supported by the Iranians, want to control Gaza, and for that, supply of Qatari money and bringing into Israel every day 20,000 people from Gaza to work, bring to the some kind of a peace and quiet, and bring the Hamas to the position that he have something to lose, and therefore he will desire for peace and quiet. All this was a big mistake. We just need to look at and listen that they, literally speaking, mean what they said to destroy Israel. It's enough to read the Hamas Convention, and this is the way we should believe what the Iranians say, and we're going to deal with the Iranian in a couple minutes too. So the day started in 6:30. In some kind of a full-scale attack of rockets all over Israel, and break and raid of the border to the nearest kibbutzim. You can see them. You can see near Oz over here, Nirim, Kfar Aza, and you see how close they are to the border. This is the border. Okay? And just let you know, to have some kind of an orientation. So this is Gaza Strip. This is the town of Gaza over here. Northern part of Gaza, central part of Gaza, Han Yunis over here, you might hear the name, and Rafah, which is very popular now. And actually, they attacked at 6:30 in the morning. Their main goal was to kill, rape, and kidnap Israeli citizens with some kind of religious justification. and they reached to all the kibbutzim just next to the border and to two small towns, Sderot over here and Ofakim over here. So if you look at the map and you look at the blue area, this is the area that actually the Hamas penetrate into Saturday morning, October 7. This document found on one of the Hamas terrorists, and over here in Arabic, of course. I won't challenge you in Arabic, but some kind of religious justification. And he called to decapitate Jews, to uproot their liver, and to my sorrow, some of the workers that we brought every day from Gaza actually cooperate with the Hamas and bring them a very elaborate information that include who is in charge on the security on each kibbutzim, where is the weapon room, some weak points on the border fence, etc., etc. This is some kind of conversation manual, which give you some indication about their intentions. Interrogate and humiliate civilians, selection between men, women, and children, kidnap civilians with some instructions like over here, number 7, take off your pants. Number 21, I'm going to kill you. Where's the head of the kibbutz? Women here, men here. So you get the idea. We intercept one of the phone calls of one of the terrorists, called his family in Gaza, and he's very pleased with the fact that he killed 10 of Israelis over there, and his mama and dad actually glorify and praise his action. So this is some kind of crime against humanity. This was one of the terrible, horrible days in the modern history of Israel, in the 76 years of her existence. More than 40 settlements and bases was attacked. The Hamas terrorists killed 1,100 civilians and another 360 police and military men and women. The Hamas didn't have mercy over Muslims too. They killed Israeli Arabs. They killed Thai workers that was in the kibbutzim. They even murdered a Muslim lady that was pregnant. And this is how it looks like. They penetrate into the houses. They look for the shield room. They break the shield room. And if not, they just brought with them some kind of fire materials that set fire on all the houses, and by that way force the people to either choke to death or to go out. And over here you see some of the houses in the used neighborhood of the kibbutzim. Nitzan Lipstein was killed over there. This is how it looks like. They destroyed everything. I was debating myself to place those photos over here. They pixeled, but still they are very difficult to watch. So if somebody don't want to do that, just look down. But I decided at the end of the day to give you some ideas about what this terrible, well, I can't define them as animals because it's insult the animals did. This is the Koch family from Kfar Aza. From the morning of October 7, nobody knows what's happened to them. And then at the end of the day, we found that all of them were killed. Mother, father, the girl, and 2 boys. This is a young girl body that decapitated. And this is some of the terrible things they did. They used electric cable to handcuff people. Over here, another very difficult photos to see. The two bodies of adults that was burning in one of the cars over here, and this terrible thing over here, a baby with his teddy bear. So it was really, really horrible things that they did. And this is how the houses looks like. Totally destroyed by RPGs and fires, and and you're probably familiar with the Hanukkah, familiar with the Hanukkah, everyone? The Jews celebrate Hanukkah to commemorate the revolt against the Greece, usually parallel to Christmas for 8 days. This is how they found the house of the Hershkovitz family. And 2 months later, this is Tamir. Noach and Mayana, his parents, was killed by the Hamas. And 2 months later, in December 8, he was lighting this Hanukkah again. The Hanukkah brought by his grandfather, which was Holocaust survivor and a partisan that fight against the Nazis. So I thought that this is a very significant photo showing the ability to recover with all these terrible events that we have here. I would like to speak a little bit about what I call the elephant in the room. What's happened in Israel about a year before these events. And this is not a political view. My humbling saying, my bachelor degree and my master degree is political science and international affairs, so I'm trying to look from side. The last 8-10 years, Netanyahu's government was stripped from any democratic value, any order and civil servant, some kind of public nomination of ministers and public service with people which totally incapable to do their job, totally unprofessional, no any skills to do their jobs. And their only advantage was that they support Netanyahu no matter what and help him to avoid the justice trial that he is standing in front. To my sorrow, he dragged Israel to 5 rounds of election in the last 5 years. He was afraid that his position will harm. He arranged some kind of extreme, corrupted, messianic in the negative context coalition just to survive the trial and to avoid him. And the idea was very, very simple. I'm going to pay you with huge budgets to those parties. I'm going to give you some power positions, and you'll be my political protectors. And Netanyahu, at the last year, mainly at the last year, in a firm way, tried in all his power to bring some kind of a governmental revolution that changed all the foundation of Israel as democracy. And this is some of the value that we are sharing, which means some kind of a single ruler with flesh impression of democracy. He tried to subject the justice system to the politician. And you know what's happened when that's happened, because you have to remember that we don't have 3 authorities like you have. We have only 2. The Israeli parliament, which have 120 members, that at least 64, 65 of them are members of the government, so the majority will always be cleared, and the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court will held and controlled by the politician, then you know what's happened. And most of the people, even right-wing people and people from Netanyahu party, was against this kind of idea and line. And the last year was marked with every weekend a huge demonstration of hundreds of thousands of Israelis that goes out to the streets. And this is something that we never saw before. Just to give you an idea, about 6 months before the event of October 7, his Ministry of Defense warned Netanyahu publicly on the influence that this governmental revolution have on our enemies and neighbors. And what he did? He fired him. And hours later, in the evening, all Israel was demonstrate out. Such huge demonstration that Netanyahu haven't got a choice just to bring him back. And a month later, he refused to meet the chief of staff and the head of the intelligence in the parliament that want to warn from the destructive process that Netanyahu lead on the strength and image of Israel in the eyes of the enemies around. April, Gadi Eisenkot, which is ex-chief of staff. Mr. Eisenkot lost his son during the fights in Gaza. And in April, he declared that the situation, the security situation of Israel is the worst in 50 years since the Yom Kippur War. Nobody listened. And the pattern of reject and delay decision is a very well-known one. And in my point of view, Israel needs to go to the election, and probably there will be election in the next 6 to 12 months, and choose another leadership, a quality one, value the one that united the Israeli people, not split them and divide them, a leadership that take care of the people in the state of Israel and not to themselves. And to my sorrow, in the last 5 years, Netanyahu put his personal interest before the interest of the state of Israel, which is very pity. And I hope this terrible event will bring Israel to a change in a good direction. Well, that's not me, that's a Wall Street Journal, as you see. During the attack in Saturday, October 7, just next to the border, there was a nice, big, huge music festival that started the evening before with almost 4,000 people over there. And the Hamas targeted this festival and killed over there 404 people, young men and women, that the only thing they want to do is celebrate life in a music festival. And among them, my niece, Tamar. And you feel helpless, and you feel that nothing can fill the hole that in your heart. The little things I can do is to send this into Gaza with her name over one of the artillery shells. The Hamas use and implement strategic of rape during his raid. The New York Times investigation that going on for about 2 months talk about 7 scenes of rape and about 30 evidence of sexual assault. One of the lady doctors in Shura was the place that they concentrate all the bodies over there, describe at least 10 women bodies with signs of sexual assault, lady soldiers and others. I'm going to just quote 2 young girls over there that describe, one of them by the name of Sapir, And she said, and this is after she was shot in her back. She hid in the bush and about 15 meters away. And she said, I told myself, I must look. I must remember everything, that if I survive, I could tell. Another lady by the name of Shoham, they rape, they laugh, they shot. The woman in the black dress, you see she is lying on her back, her hand protect her face. She was raped brutally by the Hamas people. And she had a face and a name. This is Gal Abdu, mother of two boys that killed with her husband in the party. And one of the saddest photos I'm familiar with, and believe me, I've seen few things during my 25 years in the military. I never saw this kind of evil. And it's happened everywhere, as I told you, in the party against women soldiers in the bases that after that murdered. I'll spare the graphic description, but I think you should imagine the worst thing that you can imagine. All those were happened by the Hamas terrorists. And one of the commanders said a sentence which I remember in my hand. And he described the event as, this was a biblical event in a world of social networks. So everything was there, everything was out. The Hamas took GoPro photos, cameras, and filmed everything. And after they realized what's happened, the Hamas, then they try to delete those photos, but we target them. And this is really more and much worse than ISIS. All these actions support, finance, equipped, and trained by the Iranians. And if you look over here, you see the Iraqis, you see the Yemenites, the Houthis rebels. They are in Syria, they are in Gaza by the Hamas, they are in Lebanon by Hezbollah. And Iran was behind the idea of multiply battlefronts that's surrounding Israel, actually. Hamas in Gaza in the south, Hezbollah in the north, the Houthis far south in Saudi Arabia, and actually they are firing ballistic missiles to Israel, to the southern town of Eilat, if you're familiar with. They're the one that now harming the naval trade, the world naval trade. They're harming ships, and they're harming the trade either in Europe and other places. And look at this very colorful, innocent, romantic fisherman boat. Looks like very, very nice. Almost like the boats in the Maldives. And this boat took over by the American Navy in January 16. During the operation, we still have two missing in action Navy SEALs, to my sorrow. And when they took over this boat, they found this. And you know what this? These are components of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. So the Iranians use everywhere they can bring and smuggle weapons to their allies. And about a month before October 7, the Israeli head of the Mossad is the parallel to the CIA, he declared that it's about time to start to collect some much more higher price from Iran, and warned the Iranian, we're gonna reach the center of Iran, we're gonna reach to the to the heart of Tehran. Iran actually supply drone to Russia. These drone actually hitting civilian targets and all the infrastructures in Ukraine. We're afraid that the Russian in exchange will supply the Iranians some fighter jets like the Sukhoi 35. And actually, William Burns, the head of the CIA, about a week ago, said that already Iranian pilots actually training in Russia. So the Iranians have their fingers in every pie. They are the first leading factor of instability in all the region. And with this axis of evil, which conclude Russia, Iran, Turkey, Syria, and some way behind China too. And just recently you have this affair with those Chinese balloons all over the state. The Iranian, as I told you, finance, trained, support, and equipped those organizations. This is the State Department call for those who are dealing with the Hamas finance. And if you follow the money, you can stop a lot of the activities of those organizations. And this is something that we try to do. The Hamas is the same terror organization as Hezbollah in the north of Israel. Hezbollah controls Lebanon and have about 140,000 martyrs, about 65,000 missiles, quite more accurate than the one that the Hamas used to have in Gaza. The Hezbollah is well-trained, have some kind of a combat experience because they participate with the Russians' fights in Syria, so they have a combat experience too. And they actually took over the whole south of Lebanon, and from the time that we entered to Gaza about 3 weeks after the October 7, they start firing on the border, on the civilians on the Lebanese-Israeli border. We evacuate the people from there because we didn't want people to be harmed. So just imagine that. You have about 60,000 people that evacuate from their home from the Northern Command. You have about the same number that evacuate from their homes at the southern section, and about 120,000 people that are refugees in their own country now, because you cannot bring the civilians there until we set down the situation over there. And at the moment, there's some kind of, I would say, fire dialogue between the Hezbollah and Israel. We hit more and more succeeded to hit what I called quality targets of the Hezbollah. We demand to implement the UN resolution that took in 2006, what we call the 1701 UN resolution. And probably you know what's the UN standing for? United Nothing. Yeah, I always ask myself, what's the point of peacekeeping forces when the first moment they have some tension, they leave? And the idea was to bring to the south of Lebanon about 15,000 UN soldiers, and they are there to implement the agreement, and to keep the area from the Litani River, which is about 8 miles from the Israeli border, clear without any weapons. That's never happened. And the idea is that in other negotiation or military operation, we're going to remove the Hezbollah to that area, which is the approximately the range of all these anti-tank missiles and other that they shoot and destroy the settlements along the border. And Israel actually focused Gaza, but one eye and a full readiness is to the north too. And if it won't be solved by a diplomatic means, and there are some American mediators and French that dealing with it. If it won't solve in that way, it will have to be solved by a military way. This is a tough neighborhood, and as this event in Gaza and in the north will end it, that reflect on the safe continuity of the state of Israel. And I remind you that Israel is some kind of an island of democracy in the Middle East. There's no any other democracy. The big picture is that the Iranian, with the Hamas in the south and with Hezbollah in the north, and with the Houthis in Yemen that shoot on the southern part of Israel, their idea was to bury the American initiative to reach to some agreement and some kind of a normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel. And by that way, actually shape the Middle East totally different. The Saudis, in exchange to agree to normalization with Israel, they ask for production of complete full-scale circle of a nuclear fuel. That means they will have the ability of develop nuclear bomb, and this is something that probably Israel won't agree with. But there's some ways to control it, for example, that they don't have a full scale and they provide the uranium by the United States or something like that, and by that way you can control the process over there. And the idea was to prevent the Saudis to turn to other sources like China or something like that. And MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, actually said that if Iran will develop a nuclear bomb, Saudi Arabia will go and follow her. You have to remember there's some kind of rivalry, geopolitical and religious, between the Sunnis and the Shias, between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And probably with some kind of normalization, it will have some price that Israel will have to compromise, some kind of a Palestinian state, which this government described it as a new Palestinian Authority, a renewed Palestinian Authority. I don't know what that matter, but we'll see. And in exchange to some kind of American guarantees, that I must say that the test of crisis between allies, between Israel and the state, the United States stood and backed Israel in everything Israel need since October 7. And I mean military, huge supply lines of ammunition, equipment, military equipment, everything, support in all the international agencies. Just yesterday, a veto in the UN. So I see again that, and I always said that the bonding between the American people and the Israeli people is stronger than any administration. We share the same democratic value. We share the same value of human life. And I don't know if you know, but I think Israel is the only state in the world that when the Independence Day celebration goes on, you'll see on the car two flags, an Israeli flag and an American flag. I think Israel is the only country out of the United States that have a 9/11 memorial just next to Jerusalem. So, the bonding is really very, very strong, and we get the idea again in this last 4 months. Now I would like to deal with Gaza, what I call situation report. These are rocket launchers that we found just next to UNRWA school. And there was no mosque, no school, no hospital that wasn't over there or in their immediate vicinity. Tunnel piers, launch rockets, ammunition, weapons, explosive devices. You have to understand they use cynically the civilians as a human shield, and they use all those facilities like schools, hospitals, knowing that we won't bomb them, and use them their bases. In every hospital in Gaza, we found underneath tunnels. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, under the UNRWA, which is the refugees agency of UN, if somebody not familiar with, headquarters, we found a huge server farm of computers of the Hamas. The electricity and power come from there. At the Shifa hospital, when we step inside, we found tunnels, and over there, some of the Israeli that kidnapped was held by the Hamas. And we found out, we didn't need the Hamas terrorists to know that, but we get the information even from the Hamas terrorists that we caught and interrogate. And what we did in Gaza, they wait for us with all the main roads of Gaza, with booby traps and explosive devices and ammunitions and anti-tank missiles. And what we did something differently. We didn't go through the main roads as they expected, but we go through houses. We did at the beginning, and I must tell you that from my humble opinion and experience, the Israeli Defense Forces doing everything he can to avoid harming civilians, even in the price of casualties. And what we did, we had this protocol that's called knock on roof. They're sending a training bomb, which just shake the house a little bit, no any harm. And they call the people, we had all the phones and we have the control, and tell them, guys, leave, because in about half an hour or an hour or 15 minutes, we're going to bomb the place. And we removed the civilians from there, and only then we bombed the place. So we start with a very high intensity operation, and this is how Gaza looks like after that. And we, as I told you, we did it with these very special techniques. We use a lot of combination of drones and multi-rators, and by that way we know where the ambushes and other stuff that they expect to operate for us. And you have to remember that over here, this is one of the places that you have two dimensions of fights, above ground and underground. Underground, they build, we call it the Metro of Gaza, 500 kilometers of tunnels that they can fight from them. So actually the Hamas use all the money and support and supply and cement instead of develop Gaza for the people of Gaza to build those tunnels. So you have to separate actually between the Hamas terrorist organization, which have no interest in the people of Gaza. Like one of the leaders said, the tunnels are for us. The civilians, the UN will take care of them. So this is the idea. Speaking about leadership, how I miss this soldier father. You know who is it? This is Gilad Sharon, the son of the former Prime Minister Ariel Sharon that passed away in 2014. He's 58 years old, and he's fighting, volunteer. Gadi Eisenkot, which I was mentioned, lost his son in the fights. Netanyahu sent his son too to Miami. So you get the idea. Now, John Spencer reserve major that know one or two things about urban fighting because he was the head of the Department of Urban Fighting in West Point, said that you cannot compare the fighting in Gaza to any other war that we have in the modern history in the context of the size of the challenge, the very fast advance, and the very low number of casualties in historic way. Just let you know that before we entered to Gaza, there were about 3 weeks after the 7 October, that the administration sent into Israel two very well experienced American generals that explained us that this cannot be done and we're going to suffer a lot of casualties. Every casualty is a full word, but if I'm looking at relatively what's going on in Gaza after 3 months of fighting, it's amazing. And actually now we have only, we take out most of the troops, and now we have some kind of a low intensity war over there, some very, very focused commando operation, mainly in the southern part of Gaza in Khan Yunis. And the Wall Street Journal speak about, or let me start it again, the Hamas declare about 28,000 Gaza people that was killed. 20,000 of those are terrorists. You have to understand that the Hamas force is about 34,000 people, 17 battalions, 24 battalions. We eliminated already 17. So you have to understand we try our best to not to harm the civilians. This was found in a wall in Gaza, and I'm going to translate the Hebrew inscription. Said, if somebody asks himself what is the reason, this is the reason, for them and for their sake. These are photos of all the people that kidnapped in the hands of Gaza, which the soldiers desire to free. And to my sorrow, we not much of success with some unique operation that took place about a week ago. We succeeded to free 2 of them. Now, more than 30,000 UNRWA teachers, we target their WhatsApp group. They glorify the massacre in October 7. They share pictures of the hostages and the people who killed by the Hamas. At the moment, we got 12 hard evidence of 12 people of UNRWA that actually participate in the massacre in October 7. And this evidence was sent all over the world and actually brought some of the countries to stop their support, their finance support of UNRWA. The United States is the main supporter financially in this agency of the UN, $340 million per year. At the moment it stopped, and I hope it will stay the same way. We found this letter in Arabic, and this is a formal letter of the Hamas, and it described the teacher that have some major rules in the terror organization. In some of the letters, they demand to free their teacher from the educational timeline for their training, and they said that there's no any excuse of not being there, and it's totally unflexible. So these are the people that actually educate the kids in Gaza. And the education, to my sorrow over there, is for hatred. If you see 2 or 3 years boy or girl in the kindergarten and they wearing an explosive belt in that age, and after that going to the summer camp and using AK-47, etc., etc. So you get the idea. And this is how I describe UNRWA: some kind of weaponry for the Hamas. You have to understand that refugee rights all over the world you'll have the rights for one generation. After that, assuming that people going forward, you don't need to be named as or declared as a refugee by the UN. This is how it goes all over the world. The only place in the world that refugee rights continue from generation to generation, it's Gaza. Let me take you back to 1948, 1950. Huge amount of Jews coming from Europe after the Holocaust and the World War II. And the state of Israel was one huge refugee camp. People live 5-6 years in tents and shacks and so on. But the next generation already were improved, because the main idea of every parent that's sitting in this hall is to give his kids a better opportunity, a better education, see them grow and continue and improved. And this is what's happened in Israel. This happened in other places in the world, not in Gaza. This is the humanitarian equipment that we enter into Gaza to the civilians of Gaza, which to my sorrow, part of it controlled by the Hamas, and the Hamas opened some kind of black market. We should find a way to support only the civilians. But we pushed by the administration to bring more of this support, and the Hamas find a way to control some of this support. About 106,000 tons of food and 18,000 tons of water, 12,000 tons of medical equipment and medicine, about 20,000 tons of tents and other equipment for shelters, and other kind of equipment. This is how it looks like. And look at this picture. I think it's one photo is better than 1,000 words. You see this young captain. His name is Shaul Gorelnik. And he said to the photographer that took the photo, helping this Arab Palestinian old lady, we didn't lost the values from home even for a minute. And about 2 weeks after that, 26 December, Captain Saul was killed in Gaza. He was participated as candidate in the Israeli American Idol competition, and when the war started, he left the competition and he went and joined his special unit and killed over there. Now, this is Salah ad-Din route. This is the main route that we use as a humanitarian route, which means we secure a route and we let the people of Gaza going from north part of Gaza, for example, to the southern part, to the area of Rafah, safely. And over there, they cannot be harmed by the Hamas that try to prevent them. And the Hamas, very cynically, after that we found out that Hamas built over here, just under this route, another tunnel. You see the tunnel over here. All those marks piers of tunnels that from there you can pump up one of the terrorists and just shoot anti-tank missiles or something like that. Just a second, I missed one of these. I missed this one. This looks like the worst PR photos that I can provide. You see civilians, you see Israeli tank over here. But now let me tell you the story. These are people that evacuate themselves under the demand of the Israeli forces from North Gaza to the south. This tank, Israeli tank, is actually secure this route along the way. And this is something that have to be said because the Hamas tried to prevent them to go down north because then he can use them as a human shield. And he did it by shot the people. One more example of their cynical way of dealing with things. Look at the handcuffed over here. You see the marks over here and over here? In one of the cases, we thought that there's some kind of a building that booby-trapped, as the Hamas did. We sent one of those multi-rotors to see what's going on, and we found that it's not booby-trapped, but they saw some kind of women over there. They reached the woman. As you see, she's not a young woman, and her story was that the Hamas terrorists hanged her up, and left her there without any water, without any food, for 2 days. The only thing they told her is that if somebody get her, please tell them that the Israelis did it. This is what we are dealing with, guys. The other subject is the hostages. We used to have 200 and something hostages over there, kidnapped by the Hamas. And this is why you see this fleece that we are wearing, all of us. Let them go now, with the yellow ribbon that you're familiar already from Vietnam. And you see the girls over here. Some of them were soldiers, some of them kidnapped from the party. So you can see this talent violinist over here, and look how she looks like. Look at Danielle Gilboa. This is the Daily Mail. We have 32 women over there. To my sorrow, in Bal Hayman, we know that she killed already over here, this young lady. And I have known about it because we have description from the women that release after 54 days, that they suffer from abuse, and we try to reach some kind of agreement to release them. And this is the Bibas family from Kfar Aza. Yarden, the father, Shiri, the mother, Ariel, 4 years old, and Kfir, 9 months old, when he was kidnapped by the Hamas. He celebrated his first birthday in the hands of the Hamas as hostages, and we hope that they're still alive. And that's bring me back to what I always say to the people that I'm guiding in Israel. Always look for the written word. So look at the Isaiah 60. Hamas will never be heard of again in your land. And if somebody asks himself what we are doing, I find this one very, very interesting as a closer. We are following the written word. So reality over here in Israel, in the Holy Land, like in many contexts, combined with reality. And I would like to speak shortly on one more thing. Look at this description: Israel as a dam against Islam, which will flood Europe, and this is actually what's happened. And this wave of anti-Semite all over. I just want to give you the idea. This map describes the Arab countries around the Mediterranean. And look at Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, Syria, 1.1 million Jews expelled from their countries after the State of Israel established and kicked out without nothing, and became refugees, as I told you, in Israel, and then rebuilt themselves and their family again. And then you got this grace hearing in the Congress. You probably heard the three ladies, which when it reached to Israel and to the Jews, it's depend on the context. Yeah, excuse me of being cynical. And this is my answer. Nobody said in 9/11 we support both sides, and nobody said it depends on the context. Everybody knew who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. And over here we see flood of anti-Semite demonstrations, some young generation that flood with false information in TikTok and Instagram, and they shout from the river, from the sea and to the sea, and they don't know what is the river and don't know what the sea is. And this is why I always say one of the unique things that I admired every time I come here again and again is the education works that you're doing here with the young generation. Because those young generation in those demonstrations will be the young leadership in 15, 20 years. And a huge amount of Qatari money was sent into the university the last 20, 25 years. And I think the universities have a major role to have some kind of asking themselves how come they reached to this position. And if somebody speak about anti-Semite and apartheid, I think this is symbolized Israel from the most. Two soldiers, one of them is Muslim, one of them is Jew, and they're fighting together for the same cause. By the way, you have to know that Arabs, it's not mandatory for Arab citizens to serve in the military. We didn't want to put them in any dilemma at the beginning. In the last 15 years, all the Christian boys and girls, Arab Christian boys and girls, volunteer to the IDF. They look what's going on around. They see how the Arab countries, the Muslim countries deal with the Christian community over there. If it's the Coptic in Egypt, if it's the Christians in Syria, and they decided they're going to join the IDF. So this is something that very important to be said. One short movie over here. What's the meaning of being Israel? think that's in a nutshell being Israeli. And you saw one of the phrases said over there, to go fight even when you lost your son. A week ago, the Special Counter-Terror Unit succeeded to release 2 hostages, Israelis, from the Hamas terrorists' hands in Khan Yunis, or in Rafah, sorry, in a very unique operation, which really you can see only in the movies. They succeeded to penetrate secretly, reach them, take them from the 2nd floor of the building with rappelling, and go out in a matter of minutes. Now the commander, which is a brigadier general of this unit, lost his son over there in the party. But we don't have any choice. We don't have any other country. And, well, let me challenge you in Hebrew a little bit. No, I'm going to translate it. To explain an Italian friend that thinks that we are murderers, I was offered her a game. Everyone said the name of a terror organization. I'm going to say the Muslim, and she's going to say it for the Jews. And this is how the next minutes was sound like. Me, Hamas. She, Ani, me. Islamic Jihad. She said 1 minute. Me, PLO. Muslim Brothers, Hezbollah, Fatah, Tanzim. She, just a second. Me, Boko Haram, Taliban, Al-Qaeda. She, silence. And then, now you should choose which side you are. Let's give you the idea. Think. He was Jewish. Keep it in your mind. Well, I couldn't agree more with this slogan. Not every Israeli woman is Gal Gadot, but every Israeli woman is a Wonder Woman. There was some kind of dispute because of this religious, messianic, as I told you, on the negative context coalition that Netanyahu have. So they try to prevent the girls from serving in the military, serving in combat unit, etc., etc. During the brutal attack in October 7, there were 2 tanks that operate by girls, soldiers. They were rushing to the area, killing hundreds of terrorists, and actually save at least 3 kibbutzim, operate in amazing, bravely way. And the commander and the chief of staff after that said, I think we had enough with the conversation and the argument. You won. And really, they are amazing. And we got to the end with these words of this very famous old, brilliant lady. Everybody know her, Golda Meir, which used to be the Prime Minister of Israel. And I couldn't agree more. Guys, this is the lady that after Yom Kippur War 1973, Henry Kissinger was the Secretary of State. He arrived over there to deal with the ceasefire agreements, and he was sitting in her kitchen, literally speaking, because all the very important decision was in her kitchen. She was a heavy smoker. And he turned to Golda Meir, remember Kissinger with his heavy German accent and slow talking, and he told her, Mrs. Meir, first I want you to remember that I'm an American, and only then I'm a Jew. Probably he wanted to explain her that she shouldn't expect any discounts because of the fact that he is Jewish. So she took her cigarette, and she turned to the Secretary of State and told him, and I'm quote, young man, I want to remind you that we are the first one who write 3,000 years ago from right to left. So first of all, you're a Jew, and then you can do whatever you like. This is Golda Meir. And I think this connects to something that I always say, that it's about time that the State of Israel stopped to apologize about her existence and bring you back to the written word. And by that I end my presentation to Genesis 12. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, we're going to do a Q&A since we have a few minutes. And a mic's going to go around. If you guys have questions for Avi, we're going to give you that opportunity. I'm going to also give you a number if you are bashful and you don't want to ask on the mic, but you still have a question. You can text me, 707-872-7677.
That's not my number.
Yeah. You don't get my cell phone number, but that's Q&A number, and I'll just sit back and monitor and let these guys go. So, Kurt, are you back? Yep, there's Kurt. So, anybody got a question? First up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't see him, but Kurt
Either
does.
everything is clear or you're very tired.
Let's pull this over.
We saw the coverage where they were preparing to flood the tunnels. Could you speak about the flooding of the tunnels?
She's asking about the flooding of the tunnels with water.
Well, the flooding of the tunnel is only one of the techniques that we deal with. It cannot be done in every tunnels, except that we have a special unit that deal with the tunnels, go and operate a lot of technical means to see what's going on there, get over all those explosive doors and other obstacles that they develop over there. And in some cases we flood them. Some cases we have this polyethylene that spend, and most of them we just try to blow up, because this is the best way to destroy this metro. And it's a very, very Sisyphic way and Sisyphic work, because you reveal more and more of those. And this is why we need quite a few time to disassemble the Hamas from his military ability.
Avi, can you? I've asked you a couple of different times about how Israel got control over Gaza. Can you explain that? I don't think that a lot of people know the history of Israel.
Well, the history, to my sorrow, and if I can put the blame on someone is the very precious Prime Minister Menachem Begin. In 1978, when the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt, that actually created by President Carter, the three gentlemen sit on the grass in Camp David and probably have cold lemonade, and decided that we're going to bring back the Sinai Peninsula to the Egyptian that we took over in 1967 Six-Day War. At the Gaza Strip that time, there was about 7 Israeli settlements in Gaza, in the area of Rafah. This is the area, the empty area, the only empty area in Gaza now. And over there, most of the refugees was focused now. And they decided that in 7 months or 7 years or so, they'll give some kind of autonomy to the Palestinians. And one of the biggest mistakes that has been done by Prime Minister Begin was that he didn't stood on his back legs and turned to the Egyptian president, Mr. Sadat, and told him, Mr. Sadat, you get the whole Sinai Peninsula, you're going to get Gaza Strip too, because Gaza, by any international law, was Egyptian at that time. Sadat, the Egyptian president, probably very well know and realize which kind of hornet nets he have there, and it was very convenient to him to this situation, and this is how we stuck with these hot potatoes in our hand until today.
Right. And so Gaza was originally Egyptian territory. And when Israel fought the 67 war, they took over Gaza and the Sinai. And when the peace agreement was made, Egypt gave Gaza to Israel. And so that's how Israel got control of Gaza in the first place. Before that point, Gaza was under the control of Egypt, and the Egyptians controlled how many people could go to school in Egypt, whether or not they could work in Egypt, and it was much more strict than how the Israelis have treated the Gazans. So, yeah. Yep.
Next.
What's the status of the search for Yahya Sinwar?
Search for what? Sinwar. Well, Sinwar is the head of the Hamas in Gaza, and we are trying to track him and catch him. I'm not sure that we'll succeed to do so, but it's a matter of a lot of tolerance. We think that he might hiding in one of the strategic tunnels and underground bunkers in the vicinity of Khan Yunis, surrounded with about 17 to 20 of the hostages as a human shield. So if this is the case, we're going to reach him. Another option is that he already succeeded to go from Gaza into Egypt with one of those tunnels that we need to deal with on the border between Egypt and Gaza Strip. And this is why we want to go into Rafah very carefully to see how we can remove the people from there but control these tunnels. But even if the Egyptians are not involved in this kind of action, it's enough that you give some bribe money to someone there, and it's might that it's smuggled already. We don't know. We'll know at the end of the day either if we caught him or not. But I have no doubt about it that we're gonna target him and all the other Hamas leaders that now having the protected wings of Qatar, and we're gonna trace them and we're gonna eliminate them, same as we did after the 1972 Olympic game in Munich.
Mm-hmm.
Avi, I really appreciate you coming and really enjoying
Appreciate to be here.
what you showed. But I've got one question. These tunnels must have taken years, and I've seen pictures of some of the size of these tunnels. did Israel not have a clue or understanding what was going on?
We have a clue, we have more than a clue. We knew about the tunnels, and every time and every round that we have, when the Hamas used to shoot to Israel, we used to use the opportunity and destroy some of those tunnels. And one of the proof that we knew, you see that in the day of October 7, they didn't use any tunnels to penetrate Israel. Not because they don't want to, because they cannot, because we're targeting all those tunnels and we destroy them. I think we didn't know the scale, which was terrifying, because you understand how much money, Qatari money, European money that enter into Gaza, to the Hamas hand to develop Gaza, and Gaza could be heaven on earth, with beautiful beaches and everything, was invested in those tunnels. And you have to understand, we are not talking about something that kids build. These are fortificated with cement, with electricity, and everything you need is under there. Ability to fight from there, ability to get shelters over there, ability to place hostages over there. So this is, I'm not sure we knew everything. And as I always say, when you're an intelligent person and you think you know something, you have to ask yourself what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's my best answer.
All right, Avi, I got a text coming in here. Considering the frustrations with Netanyahu in your country, is there a leader that the people are looking at to replace him? That's what I was talking to you about earlier.
I'm not talking about a specific person. I'm talking about values. I'm talking about a government that will care about the people and place the benefits of the state of Israel and the people of Israel before anything else. This is not the case the last 5 years, to my sorrow. And there are some candidates like Benny Gantz, which used to be Chief of Staff and Ministry of Defense, like other people, but I don't name someone specific. And I just want to see a government that operates in the benefits of the people.
Two questions. One is, it has changed the money coming in with the tourists, I'm sure, and maybe you could address that a little bit. And do you think that Israel will eventually become somewhat normal again, where safe for tourists to come in and you can get profit out of that the country will be back to fairly normal, or is this going to change everything?
I didn't understand the question.
So, tourism in Israel,
Yeah.
how has that affected it? And do you think that it's going to go back to any kind of normalcy before October 7th?
Well, tourism stopped a day after that. My wife Anat guide a family that come, or actually 3 couples that come, and she works on the tour about 1.5 years to arrange everything and tailor-made the tour. They arrived on Thursday, October 5th. And in a minute we understand what's happened. They left. And since then there's no any tourism in Israel. I hope tourism will come back around November, not before. Depends the situation. Depends if people of Israel in the north and the south will go back to their homes. And I hope to see you guys. Yeah. If the answer is if Israel will go back to normal regarding tourism, I think definitely yes, because Israel is not a site of just tourism. It's more spiritual. It's more kind of a journey in your spirit, and the experience you have in the Holy Land is different. It's a kind of emotional tourism. by the Jews, by the Christian. So I have no doubt about it that we're going to back to normal. You see the people, they're normal people. They just have this box on the bed.
All right, they're coming in now, Avi. My phone's buzzing, so here we go. Will Israel go after and eliminate the Hamas leaders living in luxury in Qatar?
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, they are there. Qatar gave them some shelter, and there's some kind of very sensitive relation between Qatar and the United States, and Qatar with Hamas, which actually Qatar financed the Hamas. Now they try to be the good guys by mediator in the issue of hostages, but Qatar won't be a shelter for life. And as I told you, I think we're going to target each and every one of them, because this event is something that if we want retaliate and in a way that everybody around will understand, and you have to understand something. You and me and the Israelis sharing the same democratic Western values. What we think as a gesture in the Middle East, consider as weakness. And this is a tough neighborhood. If you be weak, you won't be. So this is the reason why we need to end this war with a clear-cut, disable the Hamas military abilities, and with changing something in Gaza. So definitely this belongs to that way of thinking.
Kurt, you got somebody? There you go.
What do you see, and not politically, the end of this? What's on the other side of all of this? What do the Israelis see?
What I see?
What would you like to see?
What I would like to see? I would like to see what we tried to reach for the last 130 years already, when the Zionist movement started. We like to see a Jewish prosperous state living side by side with our neighbors. And you don't choose your enemies. And to my sorrow, I quote a very intelligent Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel years ago by the name of Abba Even. And he said something which is very, very right, and if it wasn't so tragic, it was funny. You know what he said about the Palestinians? They never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. And they could have a state years ago, after the Oslo Agreement and a few other chances. If you go in Israel and you ask the Israelis, oh, you hate the Palestinians, you hate the Jews, the Arabs? They say, no, we just want to live in peace. If you go to Gaza or to Judea and Samaria, you get different answers. So how it's ended, I don't know. The one thing I know, we should try to roll every rock in our way to seek for peace and be prepared, much more prepared than we were in October 7, to defend ourselves.
All right, Avi, here's a good one. Is there a news source that is considered fair with regards to what goes on in Israel, where we don't have to do a bunch of research to know what is really going on? So who would you recommend that's not propagandist? That's how I would decode that.
What newspaper?
Yeah.
Newspaper.
Yeah.
I will go to the, well, if I won't challenge you in Hebrew, that will be the Jerusalem Post, probably.
Can Americans get online and...
Yeah, Jerusalem Post.
Jerusalem Post, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, while Kurt's running, I'm going to read one. What is the goal to be achieved by 2025, question mark, will Israel maintain total control of Gaza? So I'm actually getting a lot of questions on how will Israel control Gaza, what's the plan with Gaza, that type of thing.
We don't have any idea and any wish to control Gaza. I don't want to control 1.2 million people over there. And the idea, in an answer to your question, was just to live in peace. And when we withdrew from Gaza, when Ariel Sharon was the prime minister, we withdrew from Gaza totally to the international borderline. We left in Gaza all the agriculture infrastructure, the greenhouses, the irrigation systems, everything. And the idea was that when we withdraw, Gaza will be some kind of the slogan was Gaza first. Gaza as a role model to the Palestinian Authority to control and rebuild their future again, a better future. What's happened is that about a year after that, the Hamas took over. The PLO people just killed them, and from that time on, we are dealing with the Hamas over there. So we don't have any idea and any want to control Gaza. We just want to remove those elements that try to fright the security of the civilians over there. And probably it will take some time. It will take some months or a year or two that we still have the ability to have some kind of hot pursuit whenever we have some kind of activity. But the idea is to get some kind of Arab coalition that combined from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the Arab Emirates, and others to support Gaza and maybe rebuild it. And one more of the things that we need to do is change the education over there. And then we'll just go back to 6 October. I remind you that 6 October was ceasefire, nobody attacked anyone. So this is what we want. We just want to live in peace. But that's, from time to time, translate to a weakness in the eyes of our neighborhoods.
I'd like to know what you think about what the history of the Palestinian people, and another part, where they came from, and why isn't Egypt or Jordan helping them out?
Why they not help them out?
Yeah.
I'm asking the same question too for decades. Well, we got this professor in the university that asked his students, can you mention some Israeli inventions? So one of the students said, yeah, the waves. The other one said the stent for the bypass cornea of the heart, and so on and so on. And then he asked them, can you name some Palestinian invention? They could not. And then the professor said, very good. The one invention that the Palestinians invent is the Palestinians. Now, who are the Palestinians? Where they came from? Where the name came from? Well, I'm taking you back to the Roman times and to the big revolts against the Roman by the Jews. And when this revolt, depressed by the Roman and destroyed the Second Temple, the Jews want to the Romans want to humiliate the Jews, and they changed the name of the province. The name of the Roman province till then was Judea Provincia. And they changed it to Provincia Palestina. After the Philistine, the biblical Philistine, they probably came from the Minoic culture in Greece. The Arabs that live until 1948 in where now is Israel, didn't define themselves as Palestinians. Judea and Samaria used to be Jordanian territory. Gaza used to be Egyptian. Okay? And after the establishment of the State of Israel, and the Palestinian movement start rising up with the terror action of the PLO and so on, then they create themselves as a nation. And from my humble knowledge of history, it's very difficult to depress a national aspiration of a group of ethnic group of people. But you have to understand that in the Arab eyes, the Palestinians consider as lower and the lower and the latter. if a girl come to her father, Jordanian father or Saudi Arabian father, or Emirate, and told him that she want to marry the Palestinian guy, in the easy case, she will kicked from home or just be decapitated. And to the second part of your question, why the Jordanian and others don't help them? This is the reason. Everybody will deny it, but this is the reason. There's no any other explanation why in 76 years, the Arab countries, the Arab world, which have 22 countries, with this huge amount of money, with the oil money, the Arab oil money, couldn't solve the refugees problem or the Palestinian problem. So this is the reason. And to my sorrow, their leaders are not willing to accept Israel as a fact. And because of that, we have this very bad tango. So you reach 2 steps and you get to the Oslo agreement, and then you withdraw again, and then there's another leader of the Palestinians, and it doesn't work. I hope we'll succeed to find 2 brave leaders at the end of the day that can make it like we did with the Egyptian. Yes, please.
Seen a lot of pictures of captured terrorists, hundreds if not thousands of them.
Yeah. What are we going to do with them? Look, in my point of view, we need to establish a unique tribunal and send them to court. And I will go for the first, or not first, the first one was Adolf Eichmann, the Nazi. I will go for that penalty. But probably that won't happen. But this is what I would like to see. Because, as I told you, these are not human beings, these are not even animals. So
So if that doesn't happen, then you'll just keep them prisoners forever and feed them?
to my sorrow, we try to be human, and I hope things will be... rest my case.
All right, Avi, I got a couple questions on this. How was the Israel intelligence caught off guard on October 7th? What technology did the Hamas use? And basically, they're trying to figure out how they got surprised on IDF.
Well, these things will be investigated and interrogated by the military and others. It's for sure it was an intelligence failure. But no doubt about it that the process that go over Israel at the last year before, as I mentioned, was helping to the idea, because all the people and the government and everyone else was dealing with this governmental revolution instead of dealing with what's going on. And this was a concept, wrong concept about the seeking of the Hamas for peace and controlling Gaza, and didn't understand that they, literally speaking, mean to what they said. So I don't have a good answer for that. And we're going to check ourselves very deeply, very honestly, to get these answers.
All right, here's a couple of them together. First of all, they say, sorry for the tragic loss that you suffered with your loss of your niece.
Thank you.
Is it accurate that there are many Gazans who are not supporters of Hamas? Well, I'll just let you start with that one. Is there a lot of people who are not supporters of Hamas in Gaza?
So the answer is definitely not. It's nice to have our belief that they are civilians and the Hamas forced them. And guys, in every house there was weapons. In every house there were rockets. Under the bed, in the kindergarten, everywhere. You cannot do it without the support. Now, I'm not sure that everybody was cooperate with them unless they intimidate him. But these are few. And my best answer to this kind of question is looking who was the second wave and the third wave on October 7 that goes across the border, enter to the kibbutzim, looting, firing, killing, kidnapping. It wasn't the Hamas terrorists. This was the first raid. Second raid was by people of Gaza. So I think this is my best answer.
All right, why isn't the news covering that Egypt has a huge fence to keep out Gazans or Hamas, who really are Muslim Brotherhood, etc.? You mentioned actually in your presentation that they allowed 20,000 workers to go over, and those 20,000 were basically gaining intelligence to plan a terrorist attack. Why isn't the news covering that? In fact, we have a similar situation here where we have this open border situation where we're not vetting anybody because they're all nice people, but why isn't the news covering that is the question.
When you bring 20,000 people from Gaza to Israel, I'm not sure that all of them work for the Hamas. Maybe I'm naive, but I still want to believe that people there want to live their life, having a best life, quality life, and they want to provide their families, and this is why they came there. And this is why we let them do that, because by that way, we thought that actually the Hamas will have something to lose. And so I cannot blame everyone, but the majority was there and operate with the Hamas. And what was the question, sorry?
Yeah, just on the people coming across the border, why isn't the news media reporting on those issues? That Egypt blocks them out, but then...
Because this is not news. In a minute Israel doing it, that's news.
Yeah. Kurt?
My question is to get away from the war a little bit, because obviously Israel's got a big target on them. But how are the people of Israel doing? You've got people that are normally, like you said, there might be the school teacher or whatever, and now they're going to war and you don't have the same production in Israel. So how financially are the people of Israel doing?
Some kind of clear slowdown. You have to understand that about 300,000 people were recruited to the military. So a lot of businesses just shut down, stopped. Some of them have some kind of a minor finance support from the government. As I said, the real heroes are the women. Just think about the fact that your husband left the house for 3 months already, he's coming maybe once a month for 2 days. Keep the family together in some kind of normal situation with the kids. Some of them went to work in their husbands' works and jobs and businesses. And it's definitely affect the Israeli economy. Just a few days ago, our credit rate was go down one step. I don't remember if it was JP Norman or some other agency, but it's influence. There's no any investment. Everything is freezing, and this is one of the things that we want to get back to normal track as fast as possible. But it's definitely affect everything. Look at me. Look at my wife. We are both working in tourism. We have no work. So you're going back to your grandfather warning about white dollar for a black day. And after this ended, you take loans from the bank and you survive. You find other things to do and so on and so on. But when you look at your finance situation, when you compare it to the families that the husbands and sons are there, or the families that their beloveds kidnapped by the Hamas, or these 120,000 people that evacuate from their home, you'll find your solution. You're not in the chain even. There's priorities.
8:30.
Okay. All right, here's the next one. Has the conflict caused any of the Jews to accept Jesus as the Christ?
I don't think so. I think when this kind of things happened, two things happen to people. Either you restrain your belief, or you completely none with your belief. This is what's happened with a lot of people after the Holocaust. Some people said, it strengthens my belief. Some people said, where was God? So it's not effect in this kind of way.
Kurt, where you at? All right, he's finding someone. Is Israel going to... Hold on. What is the goal to be achieved by 2025? Will Israel maintain total control of Gaza? I think you answered that. Is Israel going to continue supplying water, power, etc. to Gaza?
I hope not. No, I'm not joking. I hope not, because when you do that, you connect yourself to what's happened there. And this is why we need those Arab world countries to build everything again, and in the hope that there'll be some kind of a technocrat government in the Palestinian Authority that will operate Gaza. I don't want to supply them with water. I don't want to supply them with electricity. I don't want to supply them a medical care, which probably they'll continue to get from us in one way or another, the special cases, as we do all over the world. You won't believe which countries which are not allies of Israel, including Iran, in humanitarian cases coming to Israel to be treated, and we do it because this is what we are. But regarding normal life and supply, I don't want any connection with that anymore.
One of the things that's been happening in Gaza is there's a lot of money that's dumped there by all kinds of countries all over the world. We're talking about billions of dollars over the time that Hamas has been in control. And instead of taking that money and building up infrastructure, so for example, being able to supply their own water or building power plants so that they could supply their own electricity, what Hamas did with it was use it to build rockets and dig tunnels and support terror.
Well, they actually built an infrastructure, but an underground one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the metro.
Okay, I have a lot of questions themed this way, and Avi, really what it is a lot of the propaganda that turn the circumstances into what I'll call conspiracy theories, but here's a flavor of it. I was recently talking with someone who claims the IDF was willfully committing war crimes against Gazan civilians. Can you address this? I'm gonna throw this in there too. Where's it at? According to every mainstream media platform, it looks like Israel is intentionally going in and slaughtering innocent civilians. What information do you have to defend Israel? Is Hamas funded and controlled by the Israeli government? And on it goes. That gives you an idea.
Well, maybe I'll go back to JFK in Dallas. Look, I won't defend the IDF because I just need to look at the reality and what's going on the ground. And you saw what we're going to do and what we did for the civilians to keep them out from these war areas, and how we protect them from the Hamas. And you saw this captain moving with a wheelchair, this lady. You saw the lady that the Hamas just held, cuffed for 2 days. So this is the people we deal with. And it's tragic. Every civil casualty is tragic, but at the same time, I'm very, very fulfilled with myself that we are doing the best we can, even by the risking Israeli soldiers not to harm civilians. And regarding those conspiracy of Hamas and IDF, I have no any answers, good answer for that, because I think it's just mumbles.
Yeah. How long do you think it would take to for the Israeli Defense Forces to wipe out everybody in Gaza?
Look, you don't wipe everybody, because the Hamas is not just a terror organization. The Hamas is an idea, and the idea coming from Iran.
No, what I'm saying is, if Israel really wanted to destroy Gaza,
It was
how many
just-
days?
2 days, 3 days.
Okay. So there's your answer.
Yeah.
It's been 4 months. They could have done it in 3 days. So we're not talking about genocide here. Yeah.
All right, well,
Sorry,
I don't know where you're at.
over here.
All right, go ahead, last one.
So with a potentially protracted war here, how is Israel situated to continue to supply the IDF with manpower to kind of relieve some of the battle-fatigued folks who are presumably highly specialized in doing the tunnel warfare and all that stuff? Is Israel in a good spot from a manpower position to continue to reman the IDF?
Yeah,
Is Israeli in a spot to reman IDF using tunnel warfare and just the...
Yeah, we train for tunnel warfare, which connected to the question if we knew about the tunnels. We have special units that deal with it, named Yahalom. And you have to understand there's 3 levels of tunnels. There's those kind of piers that people can go out and confront the Israeli troops. There are those kind of tactic tunnel that can bring you from one place to another in the area. And there are those strategic tunnels that bring you from one side of Gaza to the others, and maybe even to Egypt. And you have to first reveal those, and after that dealing with them. And dealing with them is with different techniques. We'll try to do our best to destroy as much as possible those this network, because I think this is very important if we want to see the future of Gaza not running by terrorists again.
So how many, what he was talking about is, can they take some of the soldiers out and replace them with other soldiers? How's that?
We have enough. We have enough soldiers for that. Just recently we released some of the troops, quite large number of troops, back homes to refresh themselves. And we can do that again and again and replace the troops. And you have to remember that we have another challenge, which is the North Sea Command, that we didn't end to deal with this one too. So, yeah, we have enough troops to do that.
All right, we're going to end it there because we're out of time, and let you go get your kids in children's ministry. But hey, Avi, let's just have Pastor Steve pray for you and Anat and Israel. Thank you for coming, and it's really hard to watch. My first reaction is, if that was my family and my wife or whatever, like, everybody dies, right? It's either die and get saved and know Jesus or something. And so I think it's a perspective a lot of Americans don't have. So thank you for the information. I couldn't get through all the questions, but I'm sure we can do another platform or do something else. So let's have Pastor Steve pray for you, and just appreciate you, man, and coming here.
Yep. Pray always be welcome.
All right.
Yeah. Father, we just thank you so much for Avi and Anat. Thank you for bringing them here to us. Thank you for the friends that they've been, excuse me. And Lord, we just pray that you bless them as they go and visit family down in California and then go back to Israel. We pray that you'd have your hand on them and just be with them. God, we pray that you provide for their needs. And Lord, that we see them soon again as we go over to Israel with them. In any case, Lord, we just pray that you go before them now and that you do this all in Jesus' name. Amen.